what's up guys? My name is Zack and today I am driving a 2005 Maserati GranSport. Up front is a 4.2 liter V8 and down below is a 6-speed automated manual transmission. Now I am super excited to be driving this Maserati GranSport because I haven't driven many Maseratis here on the channel. I know I just reviewed that Ghibli not too long ago, but this is only my third Maserati, and so it's always exciting to me to dig deeper into certain auto brands that I don't have much experience with. This is an extremely well-kept example at only 35,000 miles. It's an interesting era for Maserati, and so all of that together I think should make a pretty interesting video. But if you would like to submit your own vehicle, you can head on over to my website, zackpradel.com/submit. It's a quick and easy submission form. It takes under a minute to fill out, and I come out to you. But let's get back to that 4.2 liter dry sump Ferrari-derived V8. Well, in the GranSport, it makes 390 horsepower. Now, the GranSport is based off of the Maserati Coupe. They basically took a Maserati Coupe, fixed a lot of the issues or complaints that people had, and called it the GranSport. Now, they made under 3,000 of these, so it is a decently rare vehicle. But that V8 stayed the same throughout the Coupe and the GranSport. The GranSport just got 10 more horsepower, putting it up to 390. Like I said, paired to it is a 6-speed automated manual transmission, and it is very, very weird because it drives like a manual, but you don't get all of the controls that you would out of a manual. You basically drive it with the paddles, although there is an auto mode. The owner said that for longevity and reliability's sake, drive it with the paddles. And so that's what I'm doing today. When you come up to a stop, you have to hold both paddles down to put it into neutral, then you have to hold the first paddle to get it up into gear, and then you can sequentially go up and down gears with the left and right paddles. It's very weird, and it's very odd to get used to, but that is only the beginning of the oddities here in the Maserati GranSport. Last but not least, of course, this vehicle is rear-wheel drive. So how does it feel to drive the GranSport? Well, like I said, that transmission is very odd and different, and it gives you a very engaging experience without a clutch pedal. Besides that, the car doesn't feel too big. It doesn't feel odd in any way. It's not the sportiest chassis I've ever felt, but it's a very unique experience, and we'll talk more about that with the interior here in a second. But that sound, man, that 4.2 liter V8, that is the chef's kiss. Woo! It's a very toned, it's a very poignant, it's very laser focused, and I like that a lot about this V8. This isn't a big lazy American V8. This is a tuned Italiano, and I can feel my ancestors smiling. Just as I am here today. Let's give it third gear. Yeah, that's the goods. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have 6 gauges. Off to the left is my oil pressure and coolant temperature, as well as the speedometer. And off to the right is my tachometer, battery voltage, and fuel. I really like how these gauges are laid out. I love seeing the blue gauges in Maseratis. It really, really reinforces that trident feeling, and that makes me feel rather special. On the steering wheel, I don't have any obviously forward-facing buttons. I do have horn buttons and, of course, the trident, but around the back are those paddles for shifting that are required and create quite the experience. Off to the left is a climate control vent, and my headlight switches that look like they're pulled out of like a Ford Taurus or something. And moving out of the door, we do have a speaker, latch to get in and out, and that's it. Where you'll find most of your goodies is in the center. We do get this giant climate vent up at the top, 2 more climate vents down below surrounding the Maserati analog clock. Absolutely love this feature in Maseratis. And down below we have our climate controls, really reminiscent of like Lotus products or more bespoke vehicles. We do have econ and whatnot for the climate, which is funny to see. An aftermarket radio, because any radio from 2005 isn't going to keep up with modern tech. And then we have our sort of switch panel down below. So it does say Maserati up above it, but we have the window switches to the left and right, our start button, so although this does have a key and you turn it forward, you have to start the vehicle with this button. We also have our hazard switches, sport buttons, and MSP off. And then moving down the center console, we get our tiny, tiny, tiny little shifter. This will put us into reverse or just put us into first gear. Down below that, we have our auto button if we do want to drive it in auto mode, but again, that's not recommended for reliability. Traction control off, rear defrost, fog lights, and a dead switch. Then we have our power mirror adjustments, a little tray, and that's it, meaning there are no factory cup holders here in the Maserati GranSport, and so, unfortunately, yet predictably, it fails the big friggin' bottle test. Now, the seats are pretty comfortable. They are heated, which is interesting because it actually says that the heated seats are on in the gauge cluster. It looks out of the corner of my eye like a check engine light, but it's just saying that my butt's getting warm, which is an interesting feature I don't know if I've seen in a car before. However, I do want to note that fitting in this car as a bigger guy has been slightly challenging. The headliner comes down quite a bit, the seat doesn't go down a lot, and the sides are pretty tight. And so I struggled for a long time to get comfortable in here. I think I finally am comfortable, but it definitely took some trial and error. However, speaking of seats and space, let's hop out and do a backseat review. I can only imagine how this is going to go. All right, let's try to get back here. I have to move this seat up just a little bit. Don't mind me. Not sure why there's a beeping that sounds like a bomb is gonna go off. So we're in the back of the Maserati GranSport from 2005, and it's not a very pleasurable experience. I do have 2 climate vents back here, which is way more than I would have expected. And this headliner doesn't really want to stay up. It's almost like made out of like a baseball glove or something. Wait, hold on. You gotta see this. As I push up here. All right. I do have a center console back here. Now, it doesn't have anything on it. No cup holders, of course. Can rest my arm or whatnot. And I have this beautiful, beautiful Maserati Trident right over my right shoulder. Really reminds me of how special this car is. Could I make this work? Yes. And the driver could come back a fair amount once I'm inside the vehicle. Oh, I have a clothes hook and a light? This is not bad. Getting in is going to be a struggle, and if I didn't tuck my shirt in, I probably would have mooned half the county. But once I'm back here, it's not the worst place to be. If this headliner wasn't sagging as much, but, you know, it's an almost 20-year-old car, it's honestly fine. It's not as bad as I thought. Once I'm back here, getting back here, no bueno. Being back here, muy bueno. We like to see that here on the channel. Let's hop into the very back. We'll take a quick look at the little teacup trunk, and then we'll talk about the looks. All right, around the back of the Maserati GranSport, and we do have a button here on the key fob, if you could see that, to pop the trunk. Come around back. Love this carbon fiber lip, by the way. Pull it up. And that's what I mean by teacup. It does not go deep at all. You can pull this up. You get a little bit extra storage down there. You got your battery in there. CD changer in there that I'm sure does not work anymore. But that's it. And so what this car is really saying is, instead of, oh, you know, put your groceries elsewhere, it just says, if you have more groceries than this, just buy less groceries. That's the answer to your issues. Just do less. This is a Maserati, gosh darn it. This could fit in Armani or Louis or Gucci bag, and that's it. That's all it was ever intended to do. And so that's what you get in the back of the GranSport by Maserati from 2005. Now we gotta talk about the looks, and I lovey-dub-dub in a tubby-tub-tub the looks of this car. I think, first of all, it's just like a really good design, so that's to be expected, but I really like this color as well, and I think it's very reserved. I don't think it's very blatant and in your face. It's not offensive, it's not aggressive, but it does have that classiness of a Maserati, and it feels special, and it looks special. And the GranSport does have a couple modifications options over the regular Maserati Coupe, like the big side sills, more aggressive front and rear bumpers, things like that, so you can tell in traffic if you're behind a GranSport or just a regular Coupe. However, with all of that being said, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think driving a 2005 Maserati GranSport? Well, first of all, I've had a pretty positive experience. There's definitely been a learning curve driving this car with the paddles, not something I'm super used to. That's been interesting for sure. But that's kind of what I look for when I want to drive a Maserati. I want to feel special. I want to feel unique. I want to feel like I'm experiencing something that the cars around me most certainly aren't. And so what's interesting is that I very recently drove a Maserati Ghibli, and that is a more modern Maserati. And I like that car. I actually really did like that car. But now taking a step back to 2005, you can tell that it's very different. This car feels way more special. This car feels unique. It feels bespoke. It feels like someone in Italy handcrafted this in between espresso breaks. And so that's the good side and the bad side of Maserati in the modern era, because this car does feel and drive special. And in 2005 is actually when Maserati split away from Ferrari and started to be paired up with Alfa Romeo via Fiat. Now, I know that was a lot of brands just chucked at you, but that's really the history of Maserati. It's been chucked around a lot. But that goes with anything. In this era, Maserati was really only making 3 cars. And now their lineup is around 7, 8 if you count the convertible MC20 as its own vehicle. Maseratis are more accessible than ever here in the modern era, and back in 2005 they weren't. Now that means if you wanted a Maserati, you had to really work for it. These cars were special and unique. And honestly, every Maserati I've driven, I've loved more and more. These cars are fantastic. They're fun to drive. They're exquisite. They're unique. They have their own voice and opinion, where a lot of cars today seem like rehashes or re-ups of other brands. Not this. If I weren't any wiser, I would think this car was built specifically for me here today. And that is a very, very good feeling. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Jimmy for letting me take out his Maserati GranSport. This was such a fantastic experience, and working with Jimmy has been a wonderful experience. Very knowledgeable, very friendly about these vehicles, of course. He's been absolutely awesome, and I thank him a bunch for getting me into the seat of another Maserati. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.